Welcome to Sit, Knit, and Page Flip, the cozy podcast where literature meets fiber arts. Join me, Mrs. Makita R., as I blend my passion for reading and crafting in a warm and inviting space designed for book lovers, knitters, and fiber arts alike. Each episode, you'll enjoy engaging discussions about your favorite books while sipping on a hot cup of tea, wine, or coffee. Get ready for delightful conversations about the latest literary gems, classic reads, and everything in between, all while sharing tips and tricks for knitting and other fiber arts. Whether you're nestled in your favorite chair with a good book or working on your latest project, this podcast is your perfect companion. So grab your needles, your favorite beverage, and let's create a tapestry of stories together. All right, so that is the intro for my first podcast. And I want to say that I am so excited to start this because it's something that I've actually been wanting to do for quite some time. And I just wasn't sure how to really put it together, how to start it. And I just decided to dive in. So I want to kind of run through what to expect. Of course, this is episode 1, obviously, but I want to talk to you a little bit about what to expect during these podcast shows. I'm going to be talking about bookish conversations. We're going to have some bookish convo going. And if you see me looking down, for those of you who are checking us out on YouTube, it's because I have my show notes, right? So for those of you in podcast land, thank you so much for listening, for tuning in. But there are other ways that you can join as well if you want to get the visual with the books and the projects that I'm working on and all those good things. You can also tune in on YouTube. So we're going to be talking about books, of course. We'll be discussing crafts of many different types. I am a knitter, a crocheter. I spin, I weave. I am a quilter. I hand quilt and I quilt on a sewing machine, but I am also learning how to sew clothes. So we're going to be discussing a lot of those different topics here. Occasionally, we will also talk about anything else I want to discuss. So that could be family, life, money, politics, business, kind of, and movies, entertainment, all the good things. What is a good podcast without conversation? Nothing. So whatever I feel like will make this more of an entertaining, engaging, and fun episode is what we'll be discussing. I'm also a planner, so I absolutely love all things planning. I journal, I write. So this should be a lot of fun, honestly. If you are anything like me or enjoy doing any of the things that I enjoy doing, I think you will absolutely love joining me on this podcast. And at least I hope you do. So let's talk about the sip portion of the podcast. And just for today, really, I am currently drinking, and I hope you can see my cup here for those of you in YouTube. If not, it's okay. I'm currently drinking a blonde roast, and I have an espresso. My family bought that for me 1 year, so I have an espresso. And I'm drinking a blonde roast coffee with just some simple sugar and a little bit of oat milk. It is inside of my Ember cup, which was a birthday gift from my son, which I absolutely love. And if you don't know what an Ember cup is, I want you to check it out. It is a heated cup. So it comes with this little coaster that charges my cup. And then I'm able to click the button on the bottom, and then it heats up my coffee. So while I'm walking around the house, I do not have to be drinking cold coffee, y'all. I can drink nice hot coffee, and I can drink hot tea, and I can change the temperature. So that is my sip for today. I'll be drinking that while we're here doing this podcast and enjoying my hot cup of Joe, if we're going to call it a hot cup of Joe today. So yes, that's what I'm drinking today. And I did want to share this Ember cup because I absolutely love it. It was one of my favorite birthday gifts this year. It just made me so happy. He was so thoughtful with this. Okay, so yes, I had to take a sip of that. Now we're going to jump into the bookish portion. So until I find a better way, these episodes are basically going to be segmented, right? And we'll figure out how this works best for us, how we enjoy it, what the discussion is like, and everything along this journey together. But for right now, we're going to keep it segmented. So, first, let's jump into the bookish journey. There's something I want to talk about, and it's just because I want to share. And it is that I have a lot of subscriptions, but I've actually canceled some. And I want to talk about why I canceled the ones that I've chosen to cancel and pause, and what the future of this space looks like for me. So, I have a lot of bookish subscriptions. I pay for the pro version of, oh my gosh, I can't even think of it right now. It's not Goodreads. It's, let me go on my phone. Oh my gosh. I will tell you what it is because okay, Storygraph. And I should have already known that. But I pay for the pro version of Storygraph. And it's because I want to support the organization that is, putting together the place where I get to store my books and connect with others. So I count that as one of my bookish subscriptions. I also subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, which I absolutely love, and I am a Prime member. So I also get first reads once a month, which is, if you don't already know, that's when Amazon basically shares the first, it's like 5 books, and I get to select from which one I want. Me and everyone else who is a first reads member, a Prime reads member, we get access to these first reads before they're actually published. I like KU because a lot of people that I read from the indie side, they provide their books through Kindle Unlimited. And I love being able to read books and, finish up and then put them back and get other ones throughout the month. I also think it's pretty cool because I like to download samples a lot of times onto my Kindle, and then, go back and read them later on whenever I'm ready. KU is currently one of my favorite subscriptions, and I use it very often. Another subscription that I have is Scribd. So Scribd turned into Everlast, I believe. And on Scribd, I'm able to listen to audiobooks and I'm able to read digital books. As you can see, for those of you who are on YouTube, and for those of you who are not, I'm going to describe this for you, but I have multiple bookshelves in my office and throughout my home with physical books on them. So I purchase books very often that I want to read. And I actually have books here that have never been read on purpose. And that's because I want to have a library that I can go back to and, enjoy this journey of reading without feeling like I have to reread the books that I've purchased, right? So sometimes I buy what I want to read, but I may not be reading right now. So these subscriptions help me with my digital bookshelf, and I still purchase books digitally as well. Another subscription service that I had, well, let me talk about Libby first before I go into this section. I love Libby, okay? Libby used to be Overdrive, I believe it was called. And basically you use your local library card and you could check out books in your current state. There are also other libraries that will allow you to use their library. You can pay to be a card holder at different libraries. So the benefit of Libby is if you don't want to have to purchase books or purchase a subscription, but you would like to read or listen to audiobooks or check out magazines, you can use Libby. So I love Libby. My kids use Libby, and it has really helped me at times when books are not available on certain platforms, because everything is not available on Amazon and everything is not available on Scribd. But there are some things that are not available on both of those places that are available on Libby. And then, of course, if they're not available on any of those places, sometimes I just have to buy the book. So I enjoy Libby. Now, I want to share one of the subscriptions that I had that I canceled. And that is Book of the Month. I loved using Book of the Month when I did use it. I just recently canceled it January 2025. And I'm going to share with you my reason. I have an entire shelf of books that, not even just one shelf, it's more than one shelf of books that I've gotten from Book of the Month because I believe I've been subscribed for the past 3 years. And the thing about it is I can probably count on one hand the amount of books that I've actually read that have come in from Book of the Month. And what I value about it is that they are hardcover books, they are new releases, and that is a really good thing, right? So I'm happy about that part. But what I begin to realize is that the same amount that I was spending on Book of the Month for one book, even though it's high quality, I could also just walk into a bookstore and buy the books that I wanted or get another subscription. So I decided that I was going to stop Book of the Month because I wanted to try something else. And I'm going to share what that something else is with you. But honestly, in my hobbyville of like doing all the crafty things and buying the books and having subscriptions, I do have to pay attention to what I'm spending, and there are times where I just, go off and I have a ball. And there are other times in life where I have to cut down. And so I don't want to cut down on everything, but I want to make sure that what I am investing in, I am using, or at least feel like I am getting the experience that I want to have at this time. Book of the Month and I have run its course for right now. It doesn't mean that I won't ever come back to it. It just means that right now it's no longer what I want to do. I ended that subscription, and I might post a video on TikTok or on my Twitter, post a picture of just the Book of the Month books that I have purchased. So you can kind of get an idea of like, how long I've been doing this and which books I have. And I will say, I do love the fact that they are hardcover. I actually love the fact that they had the particular month and year on them, because that was one of the reasons why I was buying them. I just like the idea of, it's kind of like the novelty of it, just having these hardcover books that have a great binding, great cover, and have the month and the year on them, put them on my shelves, that it would be aesthetically pleasing. I love that idea, but I guess it's just not what I want right now. So I did stop that subscription. The other subscription that I paused, I didn't stop it because, and I'm going to tell you why I didn't stop it. I went to go stop this subscription, but when I was about to stop it, it told me I would no longer be able to use my credits, and that the current credits that I have and my other books will begin to expire. And I currently have 12 credits, which means I have 12 books available for me to download. And I didn't want to lose my credits, and I didn't want my other books to be expired. So I paused the subscription. This subscription is my Audible subscription. And the reason why I paused it is because I have 12 credits, which means that for 12 months, I have paid for this subscription and I have not used these credits. There was a time where I was listening to audiobooks a lot. Summer of 2023 or 2024, I actually listened to tons of sales and business books throughout the summer, and it was really beneficial for me. But I think I slowed down on that desire to just like binge the audiobook thing, So when I looked at it, I said, wow, I have 12 credits. I actually had more. I think I had 14 or 16. Right before I paused my subscription, I went ahead and I grabbed a few books, but realizing that, hey, I have been paying for the subscription and I haven't even chosen books that I want to listen to. I just was like, you know what? I think I need to cancel it. But like I said, as I was canceling, it said if I cancel, then I would not lose my credits, but it would just be limited access. I wouldn't have access to the plethora of options that Audible has. Then my current credits would begin to expire. I didn't want to chance that, so I paused it for a little bit. I paused it so I could think about it, so I could really decide if I really want to cancel or if I just want to utilize my time differently when it comes to this Bookish, audio thing. All right, so I paused the Audible. I ended the Book of the Month subscription, but I did start another subscription. Okay. That subscription is the Harlequin Presents, I think it's called. I started that. Harlequin has so many options, y'all. There's Harlequin romance, there's Harlequin inspiration, there's Harlequin historical, there's Harlequin mystery. There's this new contemporary version of it. There's all these different Harlequin options, right? And the reason why I started the Harlequin is because 4 years ago, I wasn't really a romance reader at all. I read inspirational fiction and inspirational romance, but I got on TikTok and I started venturing into these different areas, and I learned that I enjoy reading romance. So, I also found out about the Harlequin books and the subscription service, and the fact that for generations, like years, it's been like 40 years. It's probably been longer than that. I could be wrong. But for a very long time, Harlequin has been sending out books to book readers and book lovers all over the world. And some of these books, once they are published and released, you cannot get them again because that's it. So they're released. Some of them are put on the bookshelves, like in Barnes and Nobles and Books A Million, and they are released to their subscribers, and then that's it. And again, it's the novelty of it. It's the the idea that I may not be able to have access to this again. Some of these things are just because it seems special. It seems like, exclusive access, and I want to be a part. So I said, okay, I'm going to try the Harlequin. The first set of books were free. And then the next subscription, and pretty much for the same amount that I was paying for Book of the Month, I got 4 books that came in the mail. And I said, I'm going to just start reading them. I did go with the Harlequin Presents version of it. And one reason why is because there's an author that's going to be releasing a book in May, I believe it is. And I don't want to have to go search for it. I wanted to just come in. And then also, I thought that I might like this style of story because it has to do with millionaires and billionaires and stuff like that. And I haven't really read many of them, but I thought maybe I'd like them. There is one thing, though. I don't really like the covers of these books. I don't really like the covers. That's the only thing. And the titles are something very interesting, which you'll see on one of the ones that I'm about to start, that I have on my list to read next. But that's the only thing. Is they're gonna look cute on my shelves. I'm gonna enjoy the subscription, the fact that I'm gonna be getting them per month. But I don't really like the covers and the titles of the books. They're just very different. Obviously they work, but because this company is still in business, but they are very much different. So yeah, that is my subscription spiel in regards to the Bookish land. That is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to share with you my subscriptions, what I have canceled, paused, and what I am still using. And so now let's talk about what I am actually reading and what I plan on reading. I'm not sure if y'all can hear my cat, but that is Nova. And she's currently in heat, so she might be doing this a little bit more. We'll see what happens, but I don't even know if you can hear her. Let's talk about what I'm currently reading. Oh, before we even get into the currently reading portion, let me introduce you to my new Kindle. I have used a Kindle Paperwhite for the past, I don't know, probably 10 years. I've used a Kindle Paperwhite. It could be less time than that, but I've used a Kindle Paperwhite. I've absolutely loved it. I've enjoyed the journey of having it. The battery life is great. Read it at night when I'm in the bed and I don't want to wake my husband having a light on, but I don't really feel like having a book light. So I do a lot of my digital reading on my Kindle Paperwhite. I send books here from Libby, from KU, from Scribd. I also read on my phone if I don't have my Paperwhite, but I normally have it. But this is my old one because for Christmas, my husband bought me the new Kindle Colorsoft. And it is so pretty. To be honest, I didn't realize how much I just wanted to have color covers. And I know to some people it's like, why do you need a color cover? I get it. But when you are a book lover and you actually love looking at the cover of a book, And you know that you're not going to get colored pages because I'm not reading a graphic novel. But if you are, you can get that on here. It just was something that I wanted. And I didn't realize how much I wanted it until this thing came out. And I really enjoy using it. And the other nice thing is it comes with these pretty little covers on it. So I don't have to create any covers. I'm sure I could if I want to, but I don't have to. My current case is one that has a stand on it and a little, this little cubby I could put my hands in to hold the book. I did that because over the years, I have enjoyed taking my Kindle Paperwhite with me out, and I don't want the screen to get messed up. So I normally buy a cover that has a case that has a cover on it. And so that's the one that I currently have for this. But yeah, so now there's the Kindle Paperwhite and there's the Kindle Colorsoft. All right. So what am I reading on this Kindle Colorsoft? I am currently reading Zodiac Academy Book 2. This is a journey that I am on, a journey that I am enjoying. And it was kind of like an experiment after I read a book with a book club that was in a different genre for me that I don't think I was actually ready for. It really challenged me through my reading. But when I finished reading it, this series was recommended to me and it seemed fun. I thought I might enjoy it. And I'm one of the people who I read everything. I just about everything anyway. And I love historical fiction. I love autobiographies. I love nonfiction. I love literary fiction. But I've also gotten into fantasy, romance, and urban fiction. And I don't even think that's all. I think I've gotten into other things too, but I just can't think of them right now. The Zodiac Academy is sort of like supposed to be a blend between fiction, fantasy, and romance. And one of the books that I read recently was Immortal Dark. And that book was really good, but it was a YA novel. And so what I wanted when it came to this next book that was going to be romance and fantasy was I wanted something that was more adult. It's just because I'm grown. And while I enjoy reading these stories, I don't always want to read about the younger people. From my understanding, these young ladies are adults, but they are young adults right now. And from my understanding throughout this series, they're going to grow. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with reading YA either. It's just I wanted something different. I am currently reading Zodiac Academy Book 2 on my Kindle Colorsoft. I am also reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. And this is not simple because, of course, world building and everything. This book is also over 1,000 pages. However, I have been told that it is very, very good, right? And that this world is going to be something that I absolutely love. So I decided to go ahead and take a journey through it and to, just give myself the time that I need to read it. So I'm currently reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson because I'm also reading Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, I think is how you say her name. I think I am, let's see where we are. Like 7 chapters in. It's getting pretty good. It's interesting. I do have to, shift between these worlds, of course. It's not always easy to read different books at the same time, but I enjoy switching. Like if I'm not in the mood to read one book, then I'll go to another one. And I may not exactly feel like switching genres. I may want to stay with the same genres. These are both in the fantasy style world. I'm enjoying both of these. I am also reading, I'm going to be starting this book. This is a book cover that I created for these Harlequin books. It's okay. The book cover is okay. It's not the greatest, but it's doing the job that I wanted to do, which is cover the book. Because I said already, I don't like the covers of the book. I don't like how they look. But this book is called Her Twin Secret. And this is one of the ones that I got in for the month of January. Well, I got it in February. I have not started it yet. I'm going to be starting it. And so I created this little book cover, which this is one of my finished projects for the month of February. It is a moss stitch book cover for those of you who are also knitters. It came out very nice. I am reading The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. So I was supposed to already have finished this book and I didn't. I am going to be reading it. I'm currently on chapter 3 and I need to give more time to it so that I can not only read it but apply what I learned in this book to my life for this year. So those are my current reads. I have tons of books that I could be reading, tons of books that I'm thinking about reading, but that is what I am actually reading right now. This month, the month of February, we currently do not have a book of the month for the Mrs. R's Bookish Corner. And for those of you who don't know, because I know you're new here, but I do have a TikTok, which is Mrs. R Bookish, and I have invited people to the book club from different spaces and to the crafting club. So Mrs. R Corner is my Discord and my membership group. You can choose to be a member through Patreon, but you can also come on in as a free member. And there are different ways to do that. I will post the link to join, or at least to get more information about how to join, in the comments on YouTube and in the show notes. So for the month of February, there was no book club read. We are going to select a book of the month for March, which when the podcast comes out next week, I will go ahead and announce what that book club selection is going to be, what it is. But if you are someone who wants to join, hop on in, come join us, have fun. In there, we talk about all things bookish and all things crafting. So it's really like a great membership area. It's gamified. You can get points for reading. You can buy you can buy books for your bookshop. I've worked really hard to set this thing up, you guys, because I love tech. I love the whole graphic web design development, like anything techish. I love doing it. And so I went in with Discord and just had some fun. I had a ball. So there are tons of things to do in there and people to connect with. And this is me inviting you. Come on in. Again, that is the Mrs. R's Corner Discord. All right. So since we did the bookish portion of the episode, let's go into the crafting portion. Okay. So today we're going to be discussing first my current projects. Hopefully she does not see this until after it has been given to her, but I am working on a shawl for my mother. And so her birthday is coming up soon, and I made myself a half and half shawl already, and I decided to make her one as well. So she loves pinks and she likes black. So this is kind of it has purple, pink, and black in the yarn, and it's a Barocco yarn. And so I decided to make her a half and half shawl as well. I am almost halfway through this, but I have to get to work quicker. I have to work quicker on this project because her birthday is coming up really soon. So that is one of the projects that I'm currently working on that has very high priority. I've been working on it every day for the past week, and I just need to keep it going so I can go ahead and finish. I still have to do the black side. This is the pinkish purple side, but I still have to do the black side of it. So I have to get to work. Another project that I'm currently working on, which is inside of my little project bag that I created, it hangs on my arm here. I made this project bag. It was one of the first project bags I ever sewed. I am currently working on a capelet for myself. Now this is the Knit Picks Nuala cape and capelet. I think mine is going to be more of a cape versus a capelet, just because the capelet stops at like right above the elbow, and I want my cape to go further down than that. So this is the neck of the project, and it is a fisherman's rib 1x1, and I'm supposed to be doing this for about 10 inches, and this is like 5. This is 5 inches of it. So this part definitely, as you can see, it goes around the neck. Oh, for those of you who cannot see because you're on podcast, it goes around the neck, and I'm doing it in purple. And this is actually a Knit Picks yarn. So this is Wool of the Andes. And what color am I using? That's a good question. What color am I using, Makita? I don't have the color with me right now. Normally I do. Normally I have it tucked inside the yarn, but I don't have it with me right now. And I am doing this on a new pair of needles. These are, oh my gosh, I forgot what these needles are, but I bought them as a tester, and I'm going to link them. Oh, they're the Likey wood needles. Likey. Some people say Licka, but I'm going to say Likey. They are the Likey wood needles in blue, and they are a size 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter, and this is a circular needle. I decided to buy these and try them out because I actually wanted to get a whole set, but I've never used them before, and I'm really good for breaking wood needles. Like, that's just the truth. I am really good at breaking wood needles. So I wanted to see how these needles will hold up. And as the stopper for these needles, I have these cute little donuts on them. These are donut stoppers, and I believe I purchased these off of Amazon. Yep, that's where I got them. I considered putting these inside my shop because they are so cute. But okay, so I am nowhere near finished with this capelet. Nowhere near finished. And I won't be finished by the end of March because, like I said before, I am focused on working on my mom's project, and I really want to get that done. So for those of you who have seen my YouTube videos on my Mrs. R's Books and Things channel, or have checked me out on TikTok at Make Rose Arts, you have seen this blanket before. For those of you who are new here at the podcast and on the Sit Knit Page Flip YouTube channel, I know there's a lot of channels and avenues, y'all, because I literally just decided to start combining all this stuff. I was doing everything separate before and finally decided, okay, I'm going to combine all these things and just make them work together. But I still have to keep that other stuff up, you know? So this Prism blanket, the pattern is from Pearl Soho. And I have thoroughly enjoyed working on this blanket. I've been working on this blanket now for 2 years. It really doesn't have to take that long. It doesn't. Like, honestly, someone could make this blanket in a matter of months. I know some people have worked on it in a matter of months. I have taken my time, my sweet time, working on this blanket as a labor of love for myself, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I have these colors. There's gray, a nice yellow. It's kind of like a pastel yellow, a cream, a pastel pink, a baby pink. I think that's all the colors. But this blanket is supposed to be, it can be twin size, which it is right now, but it's actually supposed to be a full size blanket. And so I have a lot more yarn, a lot more to go. I've done 2 columns. And like I said, it is about my height and the size of a twin size bed, but it's so squishy and I love it. This yarn comes from Pearl Soho as well. So it's the pattern from Pearl Soho and it's the yarn from Pearl Soho, and the pattern is actually free online. You just have to get your yarn. And so the yarn I am using for this particular blanket is I don't know why I don't have the name of the yarn. One thing I did love about this project, though, is the construction of it. It is all together. There's no sewing, you know, it's worked all in one. And so I actually love working on this. It's great for TV knitting and, you know, just enjoying the experience. And so I have it in this little bag that I got from Second and Charles, which I'm obviously going to have to clean because I take it with me everywhere. It's got a few little scuffs on the bottom of it, but I got this bag from Second and Charles and I have it in there. The needles that I have it on a set of Chow needles in the size, they are interchangeable, small, and the size is a size 6 or 4.0 millimeter. And like I said, I have just really loved working on this blanket. It has also helped me to learn the skill of adding sections of another yarn in a triangle without having to sew the two pieces together, like to just continuously work on the project. Time for another sip. I love having coffee in the morning. Okay, so that's my Prism blanket. I am also working on and trying to figure out what I want to do with these crochet squares. They were going to be submitted to a community project that I wanted to be a part of. However, I think I'm just going to make the blanket and send it in if that is what I choose to do. But as you can see, or you can't really see, I keep saying that because I know that some people can see this for the YouTube, but some people can't. The colors is a light teal, then a regular teal, and then I've made a square that has the light teal and some yellow on it. I think this would be a really cute blanket. But I've also considered making something else with it, just not quite sure. So that is another project that I'm currently working on. Okay, and then there are these heart socks. Okay, these socks I started last year. The pattern is called I Heart Socks. I have this posted on my Ravelry in regards to exactly what yarn I'm using and everything. I can link that in the show notes as well. But this project, I know I have some hedgehog fiber. Oh, I know what yarn I used. I used hedgehog fibers yarn, and I used Tempting You yarns from Clover Hill Yarn Shop, which I absolutely love them. The the hedgehog fibers yarn is this cream. It's more like a white, and it has speckles of all different types of colors. I use that as a foundation for this sock, and then I use this purple, which I think is like a unicorn. It may be called My Little Pony, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at it. But it's like purples and pinks with sparkles. I use this for the hearts. I really loved making this sock, but my attention changed because of where I was at the time when I was making it. I just put it down and I have not picked it back up. So it is hibernating. Isn't that what we say when we put a project down and we're like, I haven't been working on it? It's hibernating, but I have determined that I'm going to pick it up and work on it. So that is one of the projects that I'll be working on that require more of my attention. A lot of these other things, they don't require my attention as much. I can just like work on them while I'm watching TV and stuff like that. But these projects actually require me to pay attention. So, well, this sock, it requires me to pay attention. I will be working on it soon. It is on a set of signature needles, size, they're 3.0 millimeter. I don't know what size that is. This might be, I doubt it's a 4. I'm not exactly sure what size that is. And is that a 4? I don't know. But they are double points. And so I'm using 5 double point needles to make these socks. And it just helped with my attention in regards to the color change. So I love how it came out. It's really, really pretty. Sock number 1. And I just need to finish sock number 2. But when I post, because I may do a blog post about this, you will see, and if you're watching here on YouTube, you'll see that my tension was different in the foot of the sock versus in the leg of the sock. And so that's something that concerned me, especially because I don't do a lot of color work socks. This is like one of my first in a very long time. I think I did well, but I didn't do great. So it's something I just need to work on. And it is sitting inside of this knitting bowl that I made. I went with my daughters and made this knitting bowl. This is one of 2 because I made another one. I hand painted it and I absolutely love it. Okay. So that is a work that was hibernating, that is coming out of hibernation, right? I finished 2 projects, which I mentioned. One is this little I guess you can call it like a wallet. I was making it as like a holder, I tried to see if I could do a book cover. I haven't put a button or anything on it yet, but my daughter decided that she wanted this. This is actually one of the first projects that I had ever crocheted. The pinks, the browns, and it's made in granny square. It's so pretty. And I just sat down at the sewing machine and I sewed the inside of this because I didn't want to have to sit down and crochet it together. So I sat down at the sewing machine and I sewed the insides of it to make it like a little envelope. And then I told her she could have it. She can put her Kindle or whatever she wants to put in there. I may attach a handle to it so it can be like a little purse, a little handbag, but it's super cute. And then the other project, which I already showed, is this white book cover. It has bits of like gray twill in it, and it is the sea moss stitch. So I basically just, I knitted like a rectangle, and then I sat down at the sewing machine and I sewed the sides together, the portions that I needed to hold together for the book. Once again, I didn't want to have to knit it together and then it, take the chance that it'll come out. And because I'm also kind of like, I'm just winging it, so I'll just sew it. So I like how it came out, kind of. It's doing the job that I needed it to do, but there are certain parts of it that definitely could be fixed. There's like a bunching and a scrunching at the bottom, and then it's not solid. There's no wood or anything in it, so it just kind of does whatever it wants to do. But again, the point was just to cover the book. That's it. So it does its job. Okay, the next thing when it comes down to these projects is I want to talk again. I mentioned this in a different video on a different page. Like I've mentioned this before, but I'm reintroducing it because we are starting new. We are starting anew here. It is that I will be working through the Charming Colorwork Socks book. I started this in 2024. I was going to say 2023. I had to remember we are currently in 2025. I started this in 2024, and those heart socks came out of this book. This is something that I want to continue working on. If you would like to join me, you definitely can. You can check it out and connect inside the Discord, but you can also connect inside the Ravelry group. I do have a Ravelry group, okay? And just let me know that you want to jump on board. I was going to have a giveaway of some sort with this, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. But there are a lot of great patterns in this book, from just basic knitting and then adding color when you get to the, what is it? Like the ankle? Is it the inset? I have to see what these parts of the sock are called. But like the foot can be one color, the toe can be one color. And then when you get up into the leg, you can add another color. Then there are some patterns where, like I'm sitting here looking at this spicy socks pattern. And in this pattern, the toe is red. The actual main color of the sock is blue, but then she has chili peppers that are red throughout the sock, and that goes on the entire sock. I feel like this book really helps you to work on technique when it comes to knitting and to perfect color work, but not only that, to work on tension. And I know that last year I was really tested when it came to learning different techniques, whether that is, new ways of doing German short rows, color work, tension, just so many different things. So I will continue working through this book this year. And again, that is the Charming Colorworks book by Charlotte Stone. Another book that I'm going to be working through is the 52 Weeks of Socks book. And I did finish one pair of socks already. I think it was sock 1, honestly. I could be wrong. Yes, it was the intersection sock. The intersection sock is sock 1. I finished it. I did mine in cream. These pictures can be found on my TikTok, but I will post them in the show notes for the sock that I actually completed. And I loved working on this sock. And the thing is, it's so pretty. When I wear it, it's such a beautiful sock. And I did them in cream, and the pattern, it ended up being very much visible, but not overpowering for the sock. Like it's It's so elegant. It's such a beautiful sock. And I feel like such an artist when I wear it because it's like, hey, I did that. But this book again works on different techniques, just like the other one, except this one is not all color work. This one works on lace knitting. For that one, it was cables for the intersection sock. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different techniques here because color work is one of the things as well. But one of the best things that I have enjoyed about making socks is being able to improve my knitting skills as I work on small projects so I can get small wins and not have to take such a long time working on the project. So like when we're looking at my Prism blanket, it is a new technique, but of course, like I said, it's taken longer, right? And sometimes it's fun to learn the new techniques, but when the project is a bigger project, then you can feel like I just don't feel like doing this anymore. Also, bigger projects like the blankets, I can't take them everywhere. I have to work on them at home or know that wherever I'm going, I'm going to have the space for that and carry that bag with me while I have my purse and any other bag that I have. And if you know me, you know I like bags. But for a sock, it's really easy to just keep the skein of yarn in your purse or in a little bag, which I make project bags all the time to house my projects, and then just stuff that inside of my purse and be working on the sock while I'm out. And if it's a simple sock pattern, then we can work on it in the car. We can work on it while we're waiting at a restaurant or something like that. If it's a bit more complicated, I may have to focus, but I can still take it with me. I could take it with me on a trip, whether that's a fast trip or a trip we're going to be gone for a really long time. It doesn't matter. But again, there's a benefit to working with socks because socks helps me to improve my knitting skills. And I know you're like, why do you want to improve your knitting skills? Well, for me, it's because I've been knitting for 18 years and I don't want to feel like I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again. I like to feel like I am becoming a better knitter, and I've been doing it for so long. I can teach it, but I also want to have a challenge for myself, things that I'm still learning. And I can honestly tell you, I am always learning when it comes to knitting. I'm always like perfecting my skill. A few years ago, I taught myself how to flick knit instead of the whole like throw it over, let it land and pick it back up. I flick knit. So my style of knitting is very similar to continental, except I do it the right-handed way instead of the left-handed way, which that is something that I thoroughly enjoy. And it has helped me to not hurt my hands as much because if I'm honest, there are times when my hands hurt when I'm working on my projects. But that style of knitting has definitely helped me, and loosening up my tension has made it easier for me to knit as well. So if you are someone who wants to learn new techniques when it comes to knitting, maybe this 52 weeks of socks may be a good project starter for you. You know, you can select which projects you want to start and try, and you can do one sock at a time. You don't have to do 2 socks at a time. These books are also available at your local library, y'all. I have been to my local library and I have seen these books there. And it's so exciting to see that librarians understand that we knitters don't just want to use the old books. We want to use the newer ones that are coming out too. So they're buying them for us and putting them on the shelf so we can check them out. So speaking of the only other thing I want to share before getting ready to wrap this up is that I am going to be sewing a blanket. I have a lot of fabric, a lot of projects that I said I was going to work on that are sitting in project bags, y'all. And I have determined I am going to be sewing these blankets. So over the next month or so, I keep saying so, I will be working on one of the blanket projects that I have, and hopefully not episode 2, but hopefully episode 3 or 4, I will have some progress to show you for that, or at least to discuss with you here on the podcast about how things are going for me and how it's working out. Yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed talking to you about my hobbies, talking to you about my reading and knitting and crocheting and, you know, just taking this time to just sit and share. This is really nice. And so I am definitely going to enjoy this. I hope you enjoyed it. You can feel free to message me on any platform. I am on every platform you can possibly think of for these hobbies. And if you are someone who enjoys the reading side and not so much the crafting side, or the crafting side and not so much the reading side, there's a choice for you as to how you would like to connect and tune in. I'm also creating a space for those of you who enjoy it all. On all platforms, you can basically find me as Mrs. R Bookish for the books. And you can find me as Make Rose Arts on TikTok for knitting. And on Instagram, you can find me as Red Rose Arts for knitting. However, I have created a X profile, and it is Sip Knit Page Flip over there. There is also this YouTube for Sip Knit Page Flip. And there will also be the Discord. So again, if you just want to connect and you don't want to have to pick and choose or anything, of course, I will be sharing the links as to where you can check out all these things. But if you want to just be able to connect and share, not only learn about what I'm working on, but share what you're working on as well, I invite you to come and join me in the Discord. If you would like to support what it is that I am doing, you can definitely be a Patreon as well. And there are perks to becoming a Patreon. There's also perks inside the Discord to becoming a Patreon, because there's certain parts of what we do that not everyone gets to participate in. And one of the things I'm going to be considering is teaching. I am going to be thinking about teaching these crafts, knitting and crocheting and things like that. And the reason why is because people are always asking me. And so if that is something that you want, something that you're looking for, let me know, because it'll help me to decide if I'm going to do it or not. But again, I really loved sitting with you and having this time to just discuss these things. I kind of want to go into other topics. Like, there's so much happening in politics right now, and the weather is changing, and oh my gosh. But we've already been here for almost an hour, and so I'm going to close it out, and we will come back again next time in episode 2, and we'll talk more about the bookish topics, the knitting and the crafting topics, maybe a bit more about life and what's happening in the world in general. Because as many of you know, people are going through a lot of different transitions. With us currently, I don't want to open up a can of worms, but with us currently, we are experiencing a new presidential administration here. There's all types of things happening across the globe, and not everything is bad. There are good and bad things happening, but I'm not quite sure how I want to address all that yet. So we're going to stick to these topics for now. And again, thank you so much for joining me. I am Mrs. Makita R. Again, you may know me on other platforms as Mrs. R Bookish, Make Rose Arts. It depends on where you find me. But it has been such a pleasure to have you here with me, and I hope to see you next time. I hope to join you next time. If you're listening, make sure to reach out. Let me know what you thought. And happy making, happy reading, and enjoy yourself a nice cup of something. Bye.